In 1976, Stephen Spurrier was operating a wine shop in Paris. He enjoyed featuring up-and-coming wines in his store, and he had recently been to California and was very impressed with a number of the wines, including lots of wines from Napa Valley. He ended up purchasing about 30 of those wines and brought them back to Paris, and then he subsequently arranged to have a tasting competition. There were two different categories of wines that were tasted at the blind tasting. One of them was a red wine category, and that was based on Cabernet Sauvignon wines, and there was a white wine category as well that was for Chardonnay. The red wine category included 6 wines from California and 4 wines from Mr. Spurrier's cellar, all of which were from France. Examples included the 1970 Mouton Rothschild and also the 1970 Haut-Brion, so certainly very stiff competition for the California wines. The white wine category likewise featured 10 wines, 6 of which were Chardonnays from California, and 4 of which were white Burgundy from Mr. Spurrier's cellar. The white Burgundy included the very costly and prestigious Batard Montrachet, so certainly an impressive white lineup to compete with the California entries as well. At the time, the French wines were certainly dominant and widely considered to be the very best wines in the entire world. In contrast, Napa Valley and California wines generally were not even a blip on the wine radar screen. So this was very much of a David versus Goliath fight, and the French judges totally expected that the French wines would dominate and that the California wines would be outclassed. Even during the tasting, for example, one of the judges tasting a Chardonnay would say something like, "This is obviously a California wine because there's absolutely no aromatics." Well, as it turned out, that was the very expensive Batard Montrachet, which finished a disappointing 7 out of 10. And in fact, in the white wine category, it turns out that the California wines had 3 of the top 5 entries, including the overall winner, which was the 1973 Chateau Montelena Chardonnay. At that time, the Chateau Montelena sold for a mere $6.50 per bottle, which was a small fraction of the cost of the white Burgundies that it beat. Likewise, the California wines did well in the red category also, with the 1973 Stag's Leap winning the overall red category and narrowly edging out the 1970 Mouton. So the fact that Napa Valley won both the white wine and the red wine categories definitely showed the world that Napa Valley was the source of world-class wines, and this led to an avalanche of investment in Napa Valley. While winemaking traces its roots in Napa Valley way back to the 1830s, and there were more than 140 wineries by 1889, the industry was devastated by events like phylloxera, the Great Depression, Prohibition, and also 2 world wars. While there certainly were some wineries that were operating throughout this time period in Napa Valley, it was really the tasting at Paris that allowed Napa Valley to achieve widespread recognition and which led to the dramatic growth that would follow. To its credit, even Mouton got involved, as the owners of Mouton Rothschild teamed up with Mondavi to create Opus One, which had its first vintage in 1979.